Hey everyone, I'm here with a brief impromptu episode. This clip came to my attention a little bit ago, and I thought it was important enough that I wanted to comment on it or share it. I have a very grounded, kind of mainstream view of things like vaccines, modern medicine, etc., as probably attested to by some of my recent videos. But I also believe part of being a good skeptic is remaining open minded and always being willing to acknowledge the truth as the truth, even if it makes us uncomfortable or we might find it a bit shocking or surprising. And what I'm referring to is a recent revelation by Professor Jeffrey Sachs concerning the origins of COVID-19. And I know for some of you this might not seem so surprising if you're one of those people who for a while has been really tuned in concerning the possible origins of the virus. And in fairness to myself, perhaps to toot my own horn, even though my view was rather mainstream, even early on, I was somewhat open to the lab leak idea. I was also open to the wet market idea. For me, it was just a matter of where the facts ended up leading ultimately. But to just give some context, Jeffrey Sachs is an American economist, public policy analyst, someone I've been aware of for a long time. He's an Ivy League professor, formerly at Harvard, and is currently the director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University. He's served as a special advisor to two different UN Secretary Generals, and in 2020, he was appointed chair of the Lancet's COVID-19 Commission. The Lancet being a well-respected and one of the oldest peer-reviewed medical journals. He was responsible for setting up a number of task forces, including one on the origins of the virus. And it should be noted that early on into the pandemic, Sachs was skeptical of the lab leak theory, even calling it quote-unquote reckless and dangerous. But now after years of studying the virus and its origins, he's come to the conclusion that it was first made here in the US at North Carolina University specifically. Here's the clip.
I'll tell you a sad truth, also a little surprising. And I have to admit, what I'm about to tell you is only 99% sure. But my view, based on very extensive work over the last 4.5 years, is that COVID came from the University of North Carolina, which is the leading researcher on beta coronaviruses, working with the US government on a set of grant proposals that identified putting in the viral change that created SARS-CoV-2. It's a grim truth. It's ugly. It's been hidden from view. The reason I mention it in this context is we don't have any global governance that is effective right now to control the manipulation of dangerous pathogens like the manipulation that created the pandemic. And when it happened, and officially it took 7 million deaths, but probably if you count all of the deaths associated with COVID, it was probably closer to 20 million deaths. Even when that happens, it's never properly investigated. It's covered up. It's hidden from view.
This is a big claim. It's the first time that I hear it.
And so there it is, pretty crazy. And once again, what really grabbed my attention is that you have Jeffrey Sachs, this really reputable figure that's been around for a long time, who was even tasked by the Lancet to look into COVID and its origins. And he's here saying, yeah, it looks like this thing started at the University of North Carolina. And I have another clip. I harvested this one from a Jimmy Dore video. I remember when this happened, Rand Paul was grilling Anthony Fauci before Congress. And I remember at the time thinking that Rand Paul was a jerk for doing this, and and now I have to admit I have to change my thinking, because here we have Anthony Fauci denying that the NIH was funding gain-of-function research, but he says, but if it was going on, it was done according to the guidelines and it was happening at or in North Carolina.
Has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute
Do they fund
of
Dr.
Virology.
Barrick?
We do not fund.
Do you fund Dr. Barrick's gain-of-function research?
Dr. Barrett does not doing gain-of-function research, and if it is, it's according to the guidelines, and it is being conducted in North Carolina.
But yeah, in closing, I thought that was a really important story, important enough to share or comment on. Thanks for listening.